Dear students, welcome to Lab 8. In this lab, we are going to see how the for loop works. In this video, we are going to talk about the for loop, and we are going to focus on the syntactical aspect of the for loop. If you want to know how the conceptual aspect is working behind the for loop, then you are suggested to refer to the theory lectures, and there you will find many facts and the examples related to the working of the for loops. As far as the lab is concerned, let us see the importance of the for loop and see how the for loop is going to work. The for loops has three important parts. And let me share the output window with you, the application window with you. So the for loop has uh, three important parts of it: the initial value, the final value, and the step value. Let us see how to include the for loop inside a program. So we go to the file, start a new program, and we see the end and the beginning and the end. So now we click on the for loop. If you are noticing it is near to the while loop, so I put the for loop, and then when we want to see the how the for loop looks like, it takes three variables from the user: the initial value, the final value, and the step. The thing is, we can have the initial value hard coded as 1 and the final value as 10, for example. So these are the boundaries in which the for loop is going to work. It is going to start from 1 and at 10, and each time it is going to increment the initial value with the step as 1. I can control all these things with a control variable, which is an identifier called as I. Or you can name it as A, B, C, or a counter. It doesn't make any difference. It just means that I am going to process these 10 values of I with a step of 1. For example, the for loop works good when we have the definite starting and a definite ending value with a step counter. For example, if we have 10 students in a class, then we want to process all these 10 students. Starting from the student 1, then we want to process the student 2, the third student, then fourth student, then fifth, and so on till 10. So here the starting is nothing but the first student and ending is nothing but the 10th student, and we want to move from 1 to 10 by moving one after each other. So it's like first, second, third, and fourth and fifth. Okay, so what we are trying to move, or how we are going to navigate from the initial value to the final value, is nothing but the different values of I that it takes in each iteration. Iteration is nothing but the number of times the loop is executed. For example, I have 10 students. The for loop needs to process all these 10 students. It means the for loop is going to execute 10 times. So this I is nothing but the number of executions, or the values that my I will take is going to be from 1 through 10, and each time it changes or it steps with 1. Okay, so let us put a simple for loop which starts at 1, ends at 10, and it prints the values, or it moves from 1 to 10 by incrementing 1 each time. Okay, so I is going to take these different values, and I'm going to control all these things with this I variable. So I click on OK, and now the things that we keep inside the for loop are going to be the install body of the for loop, which can be as simple as printing the values of I. So I go to the output, and then I want to print the value of I in console. Okay, and I want to print it one after the other, so I moved it to the new line character. Then I clicked on OK. Now let us see how it works. We are going to run it, and here is the output of this particular simple program, printing the values from 1 till 10. Now let us play around with the different values of the for loop here. So I will stop the output window, I stop the output window and I am coming here, and now let us try to play around these values. Let us make the step 2 and see how the output is going to look like. For example, now if you will read the for loop as for I is equal to 1 and I is less than or equal to 10 and increment the I value by 2. Let us see how does it looks. It is looking like this. We are starting with 1, adding 2 to it, so it became 3. Then to this 3 we added 2 because we have to step each time by 2. So that is the reason we have 1 plus 2 becomes 3, 3 plus 2 becomes 5, 5 plus 2 becomes 7, 7 plus 2 becomes 9, and when we try to make 9 plus 2 it becomes 11, which is not the final value, which is greater than our final value. So we stop executing it and we did not print it. Okay, now let us see by changing the initial value to 0, and we can have 3. We can have step as 3. So can you imagine how the output is going to look like? It should start with 0 and end at 3, increment each time by 3. So it is going to be 0, 3, 6, 9, and 9 plus 3 is 12. So we are not going to print this final value 12 because the loop condition will fail. Okay, so it's like it has to start with 0 to 10, increment by 2. I will click on OK, so it is updated. Okay, so starting from 0, supposed to end at 10. So any value which is going to be more than 10 is going to be excluded from the loop execution. So let us run the output window, and you see we have 0, 3, 6, and 9. Now we can even take the values instead of hard coding the values. Hard coding means we are fixing the values that it is going to start from 0, end at 10, step at 3. We can take all these values from the user. So in that case, what we have to do is we have to initialize these variables. So we use the assignment variable. We can say the initial value, IV initial value. Instead of assignment, we need to take the input, and here we can say IV. I'm going to take it from the console, and I'm going to say enter the initial value, and I can include one more input. I can say final value, and I can say enter the final value of the loop, and we click on OK, and then we have one input to define the step. So I can say st, variable name as st, but take it from the console. I can say enter the step value, So now make sure that you do not make mistakes in writing this variable names. The variable loop, the control variable is going to be I, and the initial value is going to be IV, final value is going to be FV, what the user is going to enter, and the step is going to be ST. Now click on OK, and we want to print the I values. So let's execute it. Now the execution, it is asking us to enter the initial value. Now let us put the initial value as 0 and the final value as 100, for example, and then the step value as 5. So can you assume how the output should look like? The output should start printing the values of I starting from 0, then step with 5. So 0 plus 5. So the first thing will be 0, then 5. It will check the condition that I is equal to 0, I is less than 100, okay, and then I plus. So it's like 0, 5, then 5 plus 5, 10, 10 plus 5, 15, 15 plus 5, and so on till we reach 100. Now let's see. Yes, 0, 5, 10, 15 through 100. So this is how a simple for loop works, and we have seen how to take the value from the user and put it in the proper parts of the for loop. Now let us look into the first example of the code. The first example. Let me open the Word document. Uh, okay, the Word document is looking like, yeah, it's saying that print all the numbers from 1 to 20. Very easy. We can just make some changes here, and we can do it. So let me start the so we do not want this, we do not want this, we do not want this even, and then we just want to print the values from 1 to 20, and all the numbers. So we have the step as 1. If we put step as 2, then it will skip 2 and take the third value. So it will be 1, 3, 5, odd numbers. If you want to print the odd numbers, then you can change the step. But we want all the numbers. So it is going to be as simple as this. So let me run and show you the output. We are done with the first example. Okay, great. Now we want to read the second example. The second example says that we want to write a program to find the sum of all integers from 1 to 100. The initial value is 1, and the final value is 100, and we want to have the sum of all the integers, so the step is also 1. Now the logic here was to print the values of I, that's it. But here the logic is to add the values of I into a variable which is called as sum. So we are going to start and end, and we are going to declare this variable as sum equal to 0 and I is equal to for I is equal to 1, I is less than 100, and the step is 1. Each time we want to take the value of I and put it inside the sum. Sum is initially 0. We are going to take the value 1. We are going to take the value as 1 for the first time, 2 for the second time, 3 as the third time, and so on till 100. Okay, now let us do this in the visual logic. So we go here, and we are going to modify our for loop variables. So initially 1, and the final is 100, and the step is 1. Okay, and then here we want to have an assignment operator. So I'm going to delete this. I am going to add an assignment operator. The assignment operator is going to hold a variable which is called as sum, and we're going to say sum is equal to sum plus the value of I. Okay, before we do that, let us let us declare the sum variable and assign a value 0 into it. Okay, now sorry, I is equal to, yeah, the I is equal to 1. 1 is less than 100. Yes, we come here. Sum was 0. 0 plus 1. Sum is now 0. Sorry, sum is now 0 plus 1, 1. So, for example, now if I want to print this, the value of sum, I can come here and I can say print the value of sum, and we wanted to see this in the console, and each iteration we want to print in a separate line. Okay, so Let's see how is it going to work. It is going to start with 1. Sum is going to be 1. We print 1. Okay. And step, you remember the step is 1, right? So 1 plus 1, 2. Now 2 is less than 100. We come here. Sum was 1 plus 2, 3. Sum becomes 3 and we want to print 3 here. Okay. The I value was 2. 2 plus 1, 3. And then we keep on adding like this. Okay. So now let's see the output. The output is 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, 21. Okay. So if you want this to be more readable, so we can say sum uh, sum is equal to the value of sum plus the, I want to print the plus like this, and then I want to print the plus, and I want to print the value of I. So we'll say sum is equal to 1 plus 0 plus 1 for the first time, and okay, let's see how it appears to be.